Hey everyone, this is Azzy with Azzy's Design Works. I'm here today with a little tool, Dremel tool. We talked about or mentioned this. You saw us using it in our laser tube replacement video. And I've been wanting to talk about this one for a little bit, and then I've had this one for about 2 years now. It's a USB rechargeable, 5 volt, I guess, cordless screwdriver. I mentioned it to a few people. They kind of look at me like, why would you want a battery powered screwdriver? It's a screwdriver. Some of you out there who've worked with me in the past know that I have some neck injuries that has caused some nerve damage in my hands. What that means is I have limited grip strength and occasionally sensation issues, which means it's hard to tell how much pressure I'm putting on things at times, and also when there's a bad flare up I can drop things. It makes working in the shop uncomfortable sometimes. One of the big things that really makes uncomfortable is having to really torque and this twisting motion. Thankfully, we live in a modern age. I remember years ago, my grandfather got a cordless screwdriver as well. I kind of thought it was dumb because it was back in the day whenever they were all NiCads. The life expectancy of any of your cordless tools was really garbage. And I know a lot of people of our generation, you have that little nagging thing in the back of your head about cordless tools and how long are they going to die, how long is it going to take to recharge them. And that just comes from us living in an era of before lithium and fast charging. This particular driver cost about $30. I believe the current version that Dremel is now doing, they changed up the controls. We'll get to that in a little bit. The current version is going for $39 on Amazon. Your mileage may vary. So let's take a closer look at it. Of course, it's branded by Dremel. It's got the standard Buna N rubber overmold, which is kind of nice and comfortable. You know, modern looking without being all goofy edges. It's comfortable. I don't mind using this one. You really get a hand on it. You can push in on it. It's got a nice rubber molded back, so you can push down on it some to get a good purchase if you're trying to take out a stubborn screw. And you would think you won't use this as much as a normal screwdriver or even like a drill driver, but it does come in handy. And in fact, I'll even show a use case later for that. So you've got some rubber overmolding on it. It has a switch. Well, that is direction. So you push the switch in, and that means you're screwing in. The switch going out means you're screwing out. So lefty-loosey is out and righty-tighty is in. There is a charge indicator. This particular one is a little bit low, and if I press on this tip here, there's nothing in the socket. If I press in that right there with the button in the middle, there's nothing. I press on it here. You can see it turns on. It's pretty quiet. There's a knob on the back here. That is your torque value. It doesn't change how hard it goes, but it does change when it shuts off. So this seems to have its own little geared motor set up in there, and that's why, you know, when you run it, you can feel the gearing in there, you can hear the gearing in there. I mean, it's very simple, and in the back you have a USB micro type B charging port, which I guess at the time not everything was USB-C, and still isn't, but this has worked out really well. Whenever you plug it into a charger, it draws just 1 amp. It's a real slow charge. I'd only have to assume that this thing has a single 18650 lithium cell in it. It has about the same kind of life that I would expect out of other things of this size, like an electric toothbrush or an electric shaver that would have the same kind of battery in it. It says that it's 3.6 volt at 5.5 or 5.4 watt hours, 1/4 inch drive. And yeah, it's got a 1/4 inch X drive, which lets you put in your standard bits. You can get pretty long with them. Even some combo bits like this fit in there kind of well. It's sturdy. I beat this a lot, greasy, dirty. I've used it to assemble many things. I've taken tons of computers and everything else apart with this. And you would think this isn't a great tool for a computer, but yeah, it is. Let's bring it back here. We'll put a camera overhead and get a little different view and run this through the paces a little bit and talk about some of the strengths and weaknesses. Okay, we're back on the bench here. So, let's just demonstrate how does it work really. So we got our switches. Switches on, off, neutral, nothing happens there. reverse, lefty-loosey, forward, righty-tighty. This knob back here adjusts torque. Now I'm not sure if that's current limiting or how it works. All I know is it cuts out at different torque settings. Classically, I've kept it in the 3 range when I want to not strip things or I want to kind of be careful of how I'm doing stuff. I'll keep it there, and then if I need to, I'll bump it up a little bit and finish the job. You can see we got this this started here. We put it into the right direction, forward. And even on a 3 setting, whew, that goes almost all the way through. You can hear it really chewing through there. This is a coated 2-inch deck screw. We're going to put it in reverse and do the same. Now I use that like this a lot. Now one of the problems I find with this is that there's a delay, and there's a little bit of run over. So since it's geared, and you can feel the gearing in there, you can feel the motor. It's I don't know if it's loose or if it's anti-vibration, but you can feel it moving a tiny bit in there. Maybe it's just gyroscopic effect. You get a couple turns out of it, about 3 turns after you shut it off or you stop using it. And I find that sometimes it's better to just let it go, spin in your palm a little bit, and then grab it and take it away. That helps prevent you from stripping things or over tightening. And once you played with it a little bit, you get the feeling of what each of these numbers really will do and where you want to leave it for how you want to use it. Same thing with removing screws. That is one place I think this particular unit really excels in. One of the places I like to is whenever you're doing some sort of circuit board repair, and it's just fantastic whenever you have to go across a board and take all these different screws out. But you can really go through and take care of a job really quickly, especially if you're in the computer repair, if you work in an office doing IT work. I think one of these would definitely be great in your toolbox. I gotta say, this one I have liked a lot. Dremel, if you're happen to be watching or anyone there, we want to see more stuff made here in the United States from American components. There we go. We're gonna turn that down because that was set to 4, and we can really strip them out. Let's see, you got a sense for how that is. It's not going to over tighten, and yeah, you can do the classic let it go and spin. I'm kind of accustomed to doing that to keep it from over tightening things. But yeah, a fantastic addition to your shop. They're currently there's a newer version on Amazon. We have a link down in the description, an affiliate link. They're going for about 40 bucks. It's a newer version. So the newer version I saw has it looks like the adjustment for the torque is up on the front. I'm not sure if they're using USB-C or not, but if not, Dremel, all charging on these things should all be USB-C. It's a good charging standard, especially since they can modify the voltage, charge things faster, through turbocharging and all that. But they moved that up to here. It looks like it uses buttons instead of a switch, which I find as a downside. I like the switch. It feels like a good solid switch. The only downside, is that charging. So yeah, fantastic tool. Now, another use that I discovered the other day, had no idea that I would ever use an electric screwdriver for this, but since it's got a 1/4-inch chuck, it looks dumb, I know. But I did find the other day, I was working between the gas tank and the frame of my Dodge Ram. I needed to trim just the slightest bit of a piece of tubing, and I could put the step drill in to guide it, give it a couple taps to just take down just a little bit of edge of that tubing. Lo and behold, it worked fantastic. I was able to get in there, get enough control. It doesn't have a light, which probably would make this like perfect if it had like an LED here that would shine down. But really, it worked fantastic for that. You can use other bits with it, of course. You can really take these out as, get kind of crazy with it. If you're working inside of computer equipment, tips like this would probably work fantastic. But I would suggest if you're going to get one of these, you'll get the standard assortment of you know, Phillips 1, Phillips 2, a couple flat heads, and maybe a hex and maybe a Torx of random size. Skip them, have your good drill bit set that you use for everything else, and use it with this and enjoy it. Is it made for tight, fine adjustments? No. The normal screwdriver is for that. This is just to take the, it's to take this out of working. That motion. For what it does there, it's fantastic. Thanks again for joining us. Of course, all the tools that we're showing, unless otherwise said, were provided to us by our own bank account and purchases. We're not giving anything away here. We're just letting people know, because I've had quite a few people who've asked my opinions on the tools that we use here in the shop, or asked about some of the weirder tools that we use, and I thought, it's time to really start sharing that with everyone. CJ, if you're watching, this first video is dedicated to you, because you're the first person that said, I'd watch that. Thanks again, this is Azzy from Azzy's Design Works. We'll catch you around the shop. Until next time.